Good evening and welcome. You're with Newsfirst, your number one news provider. I'm Shamir Rasooli.
And I'm Nicola D'Souza. We start off with tonight's headlines.
Despite the completion of maintenance work, the water supply to some parts of Colombo will only be restored after midnight. Court orders police to provide security for the Bar Association president. Government says it has accepted 8 proposals submitted by the National Freedom Front. Talks underway on contesting over provincial polls as an alliance. COPE reveals that 3 state-run institutions are continuing to incur losses. From the frying pan into the fire. Residents of some parts of Colombo and surrounding areas continue to complain that although maintenance work on pipelines has been completed, the water supply to their respective areas is yet to be restored. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board says that the water supply will be restored in full to all areas by midnight today.
A scheduled water cut was imposed on Saturday in several parts of Colombo as a result of reconstruction work near the new Polduva bridge in Battaramulla on the Ambatale-Colombo water main. Although the scheduled 36-hour water cut was to end at 9 p.m. on Monday, the water supply was not restored.
The renovation of this water main is the main cause of the water cut in several parts of Colombo. This pipeline supplies water from Ambatale to Colombo. The 36-hour water cut was to end at 9 p.m. on Monday, but as of this afternoon, the water supply has not been restored to most areas.
The water supply to the Kotte municipality, Battaramulla, Malabe, Thalangama, Koswatta, Kalapaluava, Halbarawa, Thalawatugoda, Kalalgoda, Hokandara, Jayawadanagama and surrounding areas was disrupted as a result of the reconstruction. The water supply to Maharagama, Borlaskamua, the Kasbah municipality, Colombo 5, main and by roads from the railway station junction to Kirulapona on high-level road and from Kirulapona to Boralla on baseline road and all by roads were also disrupted. The water cut was also imposed on Kinsey Road, Kota Road and Castle Street. Residents of these areas were severely inconvenienced by the unannounced extension of the water cut. This footage was captured from areas including Nawala, Nugegoda and Kotte this morning.
It's hard to get to office and engage in our children's work.
The situation here has worsened than Polonnaruwa.
We are severely inconvenienced. Water should be provided at least 2 hours a day.
Although some areas received water this morning, it was unusable. The mayor of Kotte, Janaka Ranuka, said he too had been severely inconvenienced by the ad hoc actions of the water board.
People from Nugegoda and Pitakote were constantly complaining regarding the water shortage. The water board said there were insufficient bowsers to provide water to everyone. I asked them why they did not hold discussions with us prior to commencing work if they were going to require bowsers. There was no coordination on their part whatsoever. That is why the problem has arisen.
The chairperson of the Maharagama Urban Council, however, noted that there was no such situation there. However, certain factions accused the chairperson of providing water only for her loyalists.
Some people contacted me and informed me of important occasions like weddings and then through council. I beg your pardon, I personally gave them water tanks to allow them to collect water. I did not have the time to commence mass distribution of water as if there were a drought. Work has been completed now.
It took us longer than we expected. We completed work by 4 am today and began pumping water as usual. A problem persists in providing water to high ground. I think a lot of people collected water in advance since it was to be cut off for about 2 days. We believe that the water supply will be restored completely tonight. We have also given numbers on which people can contact us if there are persisting problems with their water supply. We will supply water to these areas using bowsers.
Several political parties submitted their nominations for the upcoming Uber Provincial Council polls today.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna submitted their nominations for the Munaragala district for the Uber Provincial Council today. The Democratic Party too submitted their nominations for the Munaragala district.
We hope to gain a much larger victory, percentage-wise in the Uva province, than the victories we have won as a democratic party in the southern, western, northwestern and central provinces.
The Janaseta Peramuna or People's Welfare Front 2 submitted their nominations for the Moranagala district.
We say to the people that they have the opportunity now to grant a mandate where their votes will have value. Act devoid of divisions of race and path and caste, or ballot for the most suitable candidate.
The JVP also submitted its nominations for the Badulla district today.
The Uva province has been dragged to the depths of poverty. The people are suffering. We will turn this into a battle to rally the people against this decline.
The Democratic Party too submitted its nominations for the Badulla district, as did the National Freedom Front.
The National Freedom Front, which submitted its nominations separately for the Badulla district, held talks regarding contesting the Monragal district together with the United People's Freedom Alliance. At a media briefing convened at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party noted that the party had accepted the proposals put forward by the National Freedom Front.
Senior leaders of the SLFP and the National Freedom Front were present at the media briefing convened at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon.
As the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we have signed and agreed to the proposals put forward by them, including amendments submitted during discussions. We thereby agreed and accepted these 12 proposals and the action plan presented to strengthen the government. We will present a copy of the signed agreement to the leader of the National Freedom Front, Minister Vimal Weerawansa. Of the 12 proposals, 8 became part of the action plan. The President and the committee appointed by him accepted these proposals on principle. The National Freedom Front's nomination for the Badulla district was submitted before the required agreements were reached. We are holding talks regarding the Monragal district. We are holding talks on the basis that following these agreements being reached, it is far more suitable for the National Freedom Front to contest as a constituent of the alliance than as a separate party.
Up next is our special segment Before the Ballot.
The town of Alla in the Badulla district is a major tourism centre in the Uva province. It was named a tourism town by the Provincial Tourism Ministry last year given the number of tourist arrivals here. However, the naming of Alla as a tourist town appears to have been limited to a hoarding.
Although it is a tourism town, there is no proper system in place. There are stray dogs everywhere. It is ridden with flies. We protest against the waste disposal system last year. There has been no response yet. Following tradition, authorities make promises for the Uva province too. But once the election is done, they are not to be seen. I believe that if 1,000 tourists are coming to Alla, we could have turned that into 10,000 by now. There are no facilities for tourists. Authorities say they will do various things. But it is the same Alla that has existed for years. There has been no development.
Tourists and town dwellers alike are affected as a result of the lack of basic infrastructure. The area faces a water problem and hygiene conditions are worsened by raw sewage being released into drains.
They think about infrastructure development only after submitting their nominations.
Area residents question as to why this tourist hotspot is not being developed under a carefully devised plan.
The political stage is certainly heating up ahead of the Uva Provincial Council polls. No date has been yet fixed for the election. Let's take a quick look at some of the views expressed by politicians ahead of the polls.
දැන් මේ දුප්පත් කියන රටේ
Look at how much money is spent on reloads in this country that is supposedly poor. This is the truth. This is the change that has occurred. Who is prepared to topple this government? Who are the people who hope to change this president?
When our children take drugs and drink ethanol, they benefit. This is because they will not pester them for jobs. They will not ask for free healthcare. They will not ask for free education. My friends, an intoxicated populace is beneficial to the ruler. My friends, the true commander has come to Uva Vellasa today, hearkening a shift. He has come here to lead the battle to rescue the people of Uva, the people of Vellasa.
Do not be afraid. We must protect the SLFP. Why do we protect it? Because we have a leader who can take it forward.
They have taken the power of the people and have done nothing in service to the people. Instead, they have burdened the people. They have increased the tax burden. They have increased the country's debt burden. But they who take the people's votes can come into power. Are they doing well for themselves?
They ask if they are to eat the roads that have been built. It took us 9 hours to reach Trincomalee, and now we saved 3 to 4 hours. The biggest problem facing the opposition today is that the government is working.
In the Hambantota district too, we saw that the people have had enough. They have a mentality where all their hopes have been dashed. People are living from day to day. It has come to a situation that they have to shut up and eat what they have given. It is this regime that has pushed our people to this state.
Heavy rains in the central hills have brought a number of reservoirs close to spill level.
However, Nicola, in certain areas where dry weather is being experienced, including the Rajarata region, water levels of reservoirs are extremely low.
But what is causing reservoirs to reach spill level even after minor rainfalls and deplete rapidly in dry weather conditions? Let's take a look.
Rainy weather conditions are being experienced in most parts of the Central Hills at present. Our reporter says the Castlereagh Reservoir is reaching spill level. Spill gates of the Vimala Surendra Reservoir have been opened. Several waterfalls in the Central Hills too have been replenished by the rainwaters. Reservoirs that were built over 60 years ago are now full of silt. The spill gates have been opened because their capacity to hold water has been compromised. The Padavia Reservoir has a capacity of 85,000 acre-feet, but the spill gates are opened when it holds 50,000 acre-feet of water. The Kala, however, has a capacity of more than 10,000 acre-feet, but the spill gates are opened when it reaches 60,000. The same is true of reservoirs like Victoria and Randanigala. The spill gates are opened after 2 days of rain, and after 2 weeks of sunshine, the reservoirs dry up. The agrarian community points out that in arid regions, more water can be collected in the rainy season if silt in reservoirs and waterways are removed. There is an irrigation system through which water flows into the reservoirs. Just because we clean up only the major reservoirs, it will not increase capacity, and this situation could be faced in the future. In the Hambantota district, it is the farmers themselves that have been tasked with removing silt and renovating irrigation systems. They are asking the farmers to use manatees to dig up the reservoir. This is not like digging a patch to plant banana trees or coconut trees. A reservoir is a vast area. Getting people to remove the silt is hilarious. At every location where it is difficult to dig up the soil, they must deploy machines to loosen the soil. If the soil must be carried long distances, then they must provide tractors where necessary. We have instructed the divisional secretaries to provide machinery to loosen the soil where necessary because the earth has been hardened by the severe drought. The agrarian community has been made to undertake this work as a prerequisite to receiving drought relief. They say that each individual must remove silt from a trench 15 feet long, 1 foot in width and 1 foot deep. Upon the completion of work in 12 days, each individual receives 3,000 rupees or goods of an equivalent value. A kilogram of rice, a kilogram of dal and 500 grams of sugar. This is what they are giving the farmers for their work. They give the farmers a manatee and get them to do this work and then give them a pittance for their hard labor.
ආණ්ඩුව සම්පූර්ණයෙන් කරන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නේ එනකොට ඒ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අදාළව ටුක්ක ටුක්ක ඉන්නවා. මේකට ගමේ භාෂාවෙන් කියනවනම් ටුක්ක ටුක්ක ඉන්නවා මේක තමයි කරන්නේ.
The Director General of the Irrigation Department, Badra Kamaladasa, says that the Irrigation Department has not initiated such a program. She also informed us that removing silt from large reservoirs is not a task that can be accomplished using rudimentary tools. Nevertheless, she also noted that the Irrigation Department has initiated its own program to renovate and remove silt from reservoirs. Kamaladasa added that the necessary allocations would be made and that operations will recommence in the near future. Irrigation engineers are well aware of the fact that when it comes to removing the soft soil, they need to use machines, but they also have to ensure that the bed of the reservoir is not damaged. It is difficult to do this with a mammoty. Nevertheless, what the government should do is to clean up the entire irrigation system and take steps to conserve it so as to ensure that the water problem can be resolved in the future.
Taking a look at one of our headline-making stories this evening. Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitiya ordered the police today to provide security for the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Attorney at Law Upul Jayasuriya. The order was issued when a plaint lodged in connection to the BASL President being followed by unidentified men was taken up in court today.
Following submissions made by the bar to the bench in court yesterday regarding threats to the president of the BASL, court issued notice on the senior DIG of police in charge of the Western Province, Anurasena Nayaka, to appear in court today. While senior DIG Anurasena Nayaka did not attend court today, the police were represented by SSP in charge of the Colombo Central Division, Palita Sirivardhana, and Director of the Colombo Crimes Division, SP Roshan Silva. They informed court that the senior DIG was currently abroad on an official visit. The police also informed court that the Inspector General of Police and the Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order had been informed on the matter of providing a security detail for Upul Jayasuriya. After hearing submissions from both sides, the Colombo Chief Magistrate ordered the police to provide a security detail for the President of the BASL prior to the 8th of this month. The magistrate also ordered that the IGP and the Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order appear in court on the 12th of this month to make submissions if the police are unable to provide security for Upul Jayasuriya.
The embassies of France, Germany, Great Britain and Switzerland urged the government to ensure freedom of assembly and expression in Sri Lanka. Issuing a joint statement, the Colombo-based embassies strongly condemned the disruption by an organized group, including monks, of the get-together at the Centre for Society and Religion yesterday.
The joint statement adds that, as was noted in the statement by the US Embassy yesterday, the organized group made forced entry into the room where the discussions were taking place, shouting violently. Over 30 family members of disappeared persons, having travelled from the northern province, members of civil society and NGOs, as well as members of the diplomatic community, were in the premises when the disruption took place. The joint statement adds that all those present felt that their security was under threat. France, Germany, Great Britain and Switzerland strongly urged the government to ensure and respect freedom of assembly and expression in Sri Lanka and sincerely hope that the security of those having travelled from the northern province to share the experience will be assured upon their return.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa has ordered an investigation into the controversial article which appeared on the Ministry of Defence website. The President today expressed regret over the article which stirred emotions in India, resulting in protests in Tamil Nadu as well as in the Indian Parliament. President Rajapaksa told media heads at a meeting held at Temple Trees today that he has asked for a report of the article published on the Defence Ministry website.
Waging protests 3 days after Lanka's unconditional apology.
It was anti-Sri Lankan protests in Tamil Nadu once again, and this time over an article published in the Defence Ministry website in Sri Lanka. India strongly condemned the derogatory article against Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha appearing in the Sri Lankan Defence Ministry website after agitated AIADMK members disrupted Parliament proceedings, demanding a resolution to denounce the action. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha witnessed 2 adjournments each as AIADMK members disrupted the proceedings and stormed into the well, seeking a statement from the government, even as they raised slogans denouncing the Sri Lankan president. The Times of India reports that the Indian External Affairs Ministry later summoned Sri Lankan High Commissioner Sudarshan Seneviratne and lodged the country's protest. The report adds that while the Lankan Defence Ministry has also offered an unqualified apology, the sense of outrage in Parliament was conveyed to the envoy.
Well, first of all, you say the Sri Lankan government at the highest levels expressed regret for it. They apologized for it, and the matter should have been treated as closed. After all, we have diplomatic relations with Sri Lanka, and the Sri Lankan president was invited to be present at the oath-taking ceremony. You can't play with the integrity of India. We have national interests which determine foreign policy. The more we attack Sri Lanka in this crude way, you're only helping Pakistan and China to consolidate its position in Sri Lanka.
During a meeting between President Rajapaksa and the heads of media institutions, retired Major General Kapila Hendavitarana, representing the Ministry of Defence, commented on the matter.
It was an article that was published without any authorization. We apologize for the publication. We removed the article immediately and apologized.
The Committee on Public Enterprises, or COPE, revealed today that 3 state institutions continue to incur losses. The revelation was made when the first interim report of the 2014 COPE report was unveiled today.
The interim report comprises of details of the examination of 47 state institutions. The examinations were conducted from the 8th of October 2013 to the 8th of April 2014. This includes 18 commercial institutions.
3 of the 18 commercial institutions are incurring losses. One is the Petroleum Corporation, but we must note that the Petroleum Corporation has mitigated its losses this year. The second is Mihinna, whose losses have increased. We have mentioned the reasons for those losses in the report. The third is the Ceylon Fisheries Corporation. These are the 3 loss-making institutions. There are several institutions which did not act in keeping with rules and regulations in giving allowances, including loans and bonuses. We have strongly advised these institutions. We have obtained a promise that they will not act this way in future. We have also strongly advised some popular institutions on paying taxes on revenue. Some of these cannot be turned back as it would lead to strikes. For example, take the Ceylon Electricity Board. There were several such allowances that were given by the CEB. And if our reverse that, then we will all have to stay in the dark.
The COPE interim report also reveals that the losses incurred by Sepetco from the 1st of June 2011 to the 30th of June 2012 as a result of the purchase of substandard fuel amounts to 8.3 billion rupees. It also notes that the losses incurred by the corporation as a result of the hedging deal amount to $75.28 million. COPE also has taken steps to appoint a subcommittee under the chairmanship of Minister Mahinda Amaravira to follow up on the implementation of recommendations made by COPE.
The Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2014, organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, got underway in Colombo this morning. Now, Nadim Majid, our Newsfirst correspondent, has been watching over this story during the last couple of years, and he says it's all about numbers and the future growth of the country. Nadim Majid reports on Sri Lanka's Economic Summit 2014.
Sri Lanka 2020 towards surpassing the $7,000 per capita mark. That was the theme of the Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2014, which commenced today with participants from a broad spectrum, including prominent business personalities, policymakers and representatives of foreign companies and governments. Delivering the keynote address, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, the Treasury Secretary, spoke on the national vision, a policy implementation perspective.
It is time we appreciate that running a government is far more complex than running a business. Private sector need to value government national vision and capitalize on it. Place country first and be proud of it. This is tie between government and private sector is the pinnacle of private-public partnership, far more important than often spoken PPPs in trade, business, infrastructure development.
In Sri Lanka, approximately 24% earn less than $2 per day or rupees 8,000 per month. Sri Lanka must strive for more inclusive growth. This is also in the interest of the private sector. Businesses would benefit more with a broad group of consumers earning a reasonable income rather than with a small group of very high net worth individuals. Therefore, the net of development must be cast wide across all districts of Sri Lanka, not just a few.
Also speaking at the event, the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Ajit Niwad Cabral, spoke on Sri Lanka beyond 2020.
We also need to look a little further, not just 2020. But if we look at Sri Lanka now, we are at $3,280 per capita income, which is in the lower middle income category. But in the next year, we will move to the upper middle income category, the lowest part of the upper middle income category. But going beyond, in the next 20 years, we'll probably be in the middle of the high income or the lower part of the high income level, and Sri Lanka would have a per capita income of around $20,000, which is roughly about what Korea has today.
Lofty ambitions for the country given voice by the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and some important comments there too, also by the Chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce on the necessity of inclusive growth so as not to leave behind Sri Lanka's poor. Now, the Sri Lanka Economic Summit provides a platform to discuss some of the key challenges and opportunities for Sri Lanka in 2020. Over the 2 days of the summit, we're going to see several foreign experts discuss with private sector leaders and key government decision makers, share their expertise and devise strategies for Sri Lanka in the year 2020. Nadim Majid, Newsfirst, Colombo.
You're with Newsfirst. Welcome back to the news. The leader of the National Unity Front, Azad Salih, lodged a complaint with the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission today. Salih says that his complaint centers around 4 factors.
One is that justice has not been served for the incident in Alutgama. We discussed all of this with the Human Rights Commissioner today. It was a positive discussion. He promised us that we would get it done as soon as possible. We also raised questions regarding the Elections Commissioner delaying the registration of our party. I informed the Commission that we are unhappy with the response that they have given us and the response that has been given to them.
Up next is our special segment on development initiatives across the country, A Better Tomorrow.
Having their own home is a dream of almost every person. The Urban Development Authority has now shouldered the responsibility of building homes in Colombo for city residents who are unable to realize it on their own. 2 more public housing schemes are to be declared open in the city this month. The schemes have been built at Myro Place in Colombo 6 and at Cyril C. Pereira Mawate in Blue Mandal. The 486 units being constructed at these sites equipped with modern amenities will be provided to people who are residing in low-income homes in the environs. Our area used to be called The Line. Everyone knew it as The Line. Today there is no need to call it The Line. The situation is much better now. You can call it Lakmini Savana. Within this year, we hope to complete another 10 such housing schemes and provide homes for about 5,000 low-income families in the Colombo city and resettle them there. Issuing a statement, the Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Employment Promotion and Welfare says that the subject minister has decided to deploy a team consisting of 3 persons including himself to Oman to conduct inquiries into an incident where a Sri Lankan domestic aide was allegedly raped. According to the statement, the 3-member committee is to depart for Oman to conduct a special investigation into the matter since the minister has doubts regarding the differing viewpoints that have arisen with regard to the alleged rape of the Sri Lankan domestic aide and incidents that occurred in its wake. On Sunday, Action TV exposed the improper, distasteful actions that were taken by the Foreign Employment Services Bureau after it received a complaint on the alleged rape of this woman who is a resident of Nilama in Mahoe, Ampara. According to this handwritten letter written by the woman to her husband, several persons at the safe house at the Sri Lankan embassy in Oman forced her to have an abortion after she was raped by her Omani employer. This incident is also exposed in letters written by 2 other women who had sought refuge at the safe house at the time. The important fact highlighted by Action TV on Sunday was that despite a complaint being lodged with the Foreign Employment Services Bureau on the 16th of April, the Sri Lankan embassy in Oman had failed to lodge a complaint with the police there until the 29th of May. Until the ambassador intervened in the matter and lodged a complaint with the Omani police on the 29th of May, The officials at the safe house had subjected the woman to 2 pregnancy tests, albeit not with the intention of ensuring that she received justice. It is notable that the statement issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Employment Promotion and Welfare, citing different viewpoints and vague facts in this matter, is in itself rather vague. This is because, according to this statement, the woman was brought to the embassy in Oman on the 29th of April. The same statement notes that the ambassador had commenced inquiries into the alleged forced abortion that the woman was subjected to since the 23rd of April. There is a task that must be undertaken by the 3-member committee prior to their departure for Oman to conduct investigations there. That is to ensure that the woman in question is taken out of the so-called safe house and given shelter at another location. This is because this letter shows that the woman, who may be the victim of heinous crimes, is being forced to dance to the tune of the officials at this safe house.
And that was a look at Action TV. Now you too can be a Newsfirst reporter, Sri Lanka's first citizen journalism initiative. It's very simple. You just have to log on to www.newsfirst.lk/youreport or simply call us on 4896-896. The numbers once again 4896-896. Dimesh Adhikari has signed up as a Newsfirst reporter. He filed this report from Polgahawela.
This is the Yangal Modra Moravapitiya road in Polgahawela. There are a number of places where you can see the damage that has been caused to the road. Area residents and students face a number of hardships as a result. The area residents request that the road be reconstructed.
Court today referred all files pertaining to the death of a youth in Divulapitiya in police fire to the Attorney General. The magisterial hearing into the death of a youth at the Baravila Junction in Divulapitiya on the evening of the 23rd of June was taken up today before the Minuangoda District Judge and Magistrate G.A. Ruan Pathirana today. The judge ordered today that all files pertaining to the case, including the coroner's report and statements recorded by the police, be referred to the Attorney General for further instructions. The case will be taken up again on the 16th of December. Now moving on to some sports news. Sri Lanka captain Angelo Matthews says that his team will have to be dedicated if they are to overcome Pakistan in the Test series.
The first match of the 2 Test series will work off tomorrow at the Galle International Cricket Stadium.
Sri Lanka and Pakistan last met in a test series in December last year. Of the 46 test matches between the two countries so far, Pakistan have won 17 while Sri Lanka have won 11.
We played very well against the South Africans in the second test. However, the Pakistanis play in the subcontinent too. If we are to win against Pakistan, we will have to play well throughout the series.
Incidentally, this will be Mahala's last test series. Mahala, who lays claim to being Sri Lanka's highest scorer and the highest scorer at the Galle International Stadium, has amassed a total of 11,671 runs in his 147 test appearances.
His retirement is saddening for the entire team. Whether they play or not, our novice players learn much from cricketers like Mahala and Sangakkara. His retirement is a huge loss for the entire Sri Lankan team.
Well, that's a wrap of your primetime news for today. Thank you for joining us for the Newsfirst team. I'm Nicola Dizoiza.
And I'm Shamir Rasuldin. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Till then, take care and good night.